What's up, guys? So I had a comment on one of the latest videos, and it was like, Trav, do a video on the labor shortage and where people are going. And I said, that is an excellent comment. I appreciate you guys down there below. If you get a moment, mention something, give these videos a like. It makes a huge difference in sending it out to the algorithm, letting other people know, they're decent videos, So I thought about this question, and I've asked a lot of people about this, and I've been discussing this in my own circles for at least several months now. And the short of it is, I don't have any actual definitive answer as to where in the world are these laborers going. Why do we have a labor shortage? So I've asked some of the guys I coach with, and I do some coaching, I'll link to that. So I'm coaching with a client this afternoon, and I just ask him, because he basically is like, Trav, I'm gonna sell a division of my business off. I'm gonna sell a truck and some of the assets that go with it because I can't find anyone. And he's not joking. Like, we've been talking about this issue for at least a year now. And he's like, dude, I just cannot find anyone to run this truck. And it's a CDL position, it's air brakes. He needs, a relatively qualified person. And he looked at the numbers on the business and he's like, I'm making like 20 grand. So far, the year's not done. He's like, so I expect to make 25, 30 grand by the time we wrap everything up for the year. And I'm gonna either shut it down and sell off the equipment, or I'm gonna sell it off to one of my biggest clients. And so we're in the process of trying to sell it off to one of his biggest clients. And I thought this was interesting because I said, man, what's going on? He's like, well, I'm busy as all. Like, there's no doubt about it, I'm super busy, but I can't find anyone. And when I look at the profit, I'm kind of glad I don't have anyone because there's not really a whole lot there. As far as if I wasn't running the truck and somebody else was running the truck, the business really wouldn't be profitable at this point in time. And so I thought this is interesting. So I talked to a buddy of mine up in DC who works at a think tank. Really, like, he's a data guy. That's like kind of his job, is that he messes with the data and he looks at all of these different numbers. And he was super jazzed about this about a month ago. He's like, Trav, look at these labor stats. Like, we haven't seen a rise in real wages literally since the 70s. He's like, this is so pro labor. Like, all these numbers are coming in like so on point for labor. He was all excited about it. Essentially, the case he made was people are leaving the workforce because people are returning back to family values, which at this think tank is a big metric for all the other metrics they want to line up, like, lowering crime rate or increased economic activity, or et cetera, et cetera. Family formation is one of the key metrics that they look at. And so he's like, dude, people are leaving the workforce to literally educate their kids. That's massively positive to get them out of the government indoctrination camps. And in addition to that, we're seeing a major uptick in one-income households. He's super excited about this. I grew up in a one-income household. My mom stayed at home. I was one of 3 boys. My dad worked, and they made it work. Like, we weren't super wealthy, but we got by. We got by without any hiccups. So it was a decent upbringing. And I thought, that's interesting. So you're seeing a rise in real wages. Essentially what he's saying is, dude, labor is in the power position right now, man. Like, labor can demand whatever they want to demand right now because they're in short supply and people are leaving the workforce. And people are combining their resources. And this particular guy is a 1-car household. I just learned this about him, and I thought, dude, that's super interesting. He's got 3 young kids. They stay at home. His wife stays at home. He works. He telecommutes, so he's got like an office upstairs where he does all his business out of. And he's like, yeah, dude, we don't need 2 cars, so we don't have 2 cars. Because if I need a car, and he and I are about to go hang out in 2 weeks, I'm gonna fly up and go see him, and we're gonna go hang out with some other buddies. We're gonna rent a car from the airport and head out. And he's like, yeah, whenever I need an extra car, just rent one every now and then. And so I thought, man, that's super interesting. So essentially what he's saying and what his data is saying, and they pay a lot for their data, is like, people are leaving the workforce to basically take on other responsibilities around the family unit, whether that's caring for an older parent, loved one, educating kids at home, working from home, or they're taking on gig economy jobs, kind of like they're doing Shipt or Uber or any of these other type of deals, which allows them to work when they want to work and not work when they don't want to work. I don't think that explains exactly where they are and why there's this labor shortage. I do think that an uptick, and I'm not like everything's so great and amazing, but like in inflationary times before it gets bad, there's always like an uptick because people are like, well, I mean, things are going, things are inflating in price, I'll just buy it. And it also makes people it's an accounting trick that, you know, the elites that be use. So let's just say that, you know, you sell a product and that product goes up by 10%. And so you pass it on to your customers. And so instead of doing $100,000 in revenue, now you're doing $110,000 in revenue. Well, it's called the wealth effect. Like, you feel richer because you're like, oh, look at this revenue. You know, look at it. I'm at 110 in revenue, but nothing has changed. Absolutely nothing has changed. If anything, your costs have risen and your profit margins have shrunk. And this is what I'm seeing with my coaching client and with a few other coaching clients. And thus, it's like, okay, man, it's time for you to exit, time to sell out these assets. He bought a truck for $40,000. He's gonna be able to sell that truck for $50,000. You know, like, it's a good time to go. It's a good time to make moves. And so the short answer to where are these people going, I don't really know, man. And I would love to hear from you guys in the comments. When you guys like put your comments in there, it helps me understand the audience. And then when you like these videos, it sends it out to the algorithm. And it's just like, boom, major difference on those. So I appreciate it when you guys do that. If you like these videos, comments, and I learn from you guys. There's one guy in here, Charge Mopar, I believe it is, screen name. He always puts a fabulous comment in these videos, and I'm super grateful for that because I learn so much from this guy. Turns out he's actually in my state. It's probably due for a trip. I probably need to go over to that coast at some point and actually meet him in person. But I want to hear from you guys. What are you guys seeing? Essentially, the causes here are the government's paying people to stay at home, and maybe not. Mandates are making people leave their workforce. And my buddy's like, dude, family formation has never been better. As far as multi-generational housing, people moving in with family members, people consolidating fixed cost expenses, and so maybe there's not a need for them to work as much. I found it an interesting theory, and so I want to hear from you guys. Thanks for watching.